the break, it's off camera. We were having an interesting conversation with Andrew about resilience, about how to tackle different challenges. Yes, how to go about it. How do you set your mind?
Emotional health, in other words.
Yes. How do you let's just dive straight into it, and maybe we will be able to relate this. But it is a very interesting conversation when you get to have that introspective look and say, how do I manage the different emotions that come over, and am I set? Actually, do I set my mind? Does it get easier with time as I overcome more and more challenges?
You know something, you've talked about emotions. You know, I love trading, most especially markets and all this. And you know, there is this time where the market plays on your emotions. And if you're this kind of a person that you're emotional, you're trading in revenge. Oh, I've lost $10, $20. Let me get it now. I have to make more. You might lose more because the market doesn't care about your emotions.
Yes. And that's where Andrew, emotional intelligence comes.
Emotional intelligence, absolutely. Yeah.
It is, because you will know how to act at the right time, in the right place, and for your own good and the good of others. But talking about good, your own good and the good of others, let's get inspired by a couple of business quotes from those that have made it before us. Business quotes coming up next. This is interesting. Off camera, we are here having all these different conversations. Let's drag you into this. So, team spirit. Team spirit can be quite a beautiful thing when all of you are gelling. You know, moving on together. Yes, you are gelling. You know that yes, communication is great, and this person is going to do this, and this person is going to do this, and I know for sure. Even when I do my part, I will do my best, and I will be taken appreciated. But the moment those are lacking, the team can be hell. Can be hell.
Let's talk about a scenario here. If we are doing as a team, you know, I'm speaking this because I think you've experienced it at some point, but let's just ponder it in a way that is quite interesting. If somebody on the team doesn't do what they're supposed to do, I feel at so many times, according to certain settings of certain systems, somebody will likely to blame all of you for the failure of that. But I think that also puts her at a risk whereby if we don't examine the system, because the system itself has components and each component has a part to play.
The arms, the legs, all
exactly.
This. When you look at the body.
Perfect.
As a team.
Body, you know. So if you realize that perhaps part of your body is itching, you're not going to treat the entire body, saying that the entire body is sick.
Yes. You look at that particular
That's specific, because you might give, because I'm not a health expert, but I perceive that if you take medicine for something that you're not suffering from, doesn't that medicine become poison?
Yes, it does. If you're lucky, if you're lucky, it goes away. I feel like I've just landed into your trap, Andrew. And the trap I just feel like I've landed into something that I wasn't prepared for.
No.
What trap have I landed into?
No.
Why did you say perfect?
The issue is that instead of treating that particular unit that has gone off the course, certain systems treat the whole failure, attribute the failure to the whole. And the innocent people, perhaps, the innocent parts of the body are taking in that treatment, which they are not supposed to take, which is going to cause poison. But you left the foot out.
Definitely. That's the truth. And when you look at the body, really in unison, when you look at the body as a whole, the team as it is supposed to play, the arms doing the ears, each part having its role. Now, during the function, and this is the function of the team, really, doing a particular task. The function of the team is to do a particular task and move it on and achieve a particular goal. Now, assuming the body is going through that, and one part does not do its part, do you immediately stop the entire system from working? You are meant to walk from here up to Garden City roundabout. Yes, the very first thing you do is you improvise and make sure that you move. Yes, you continue moving. One eye is dead, continue with the other eye. One mouth can't speak, try to use sign language. The idea is complete the task. Now, when you get there, amidst, if you are able to have this evaluation and see, can we jumpstart this, see where the problem is and jumpstart it along the way. That is the best attitude. But sometimes
that's what I believe.
Yes, sometimes that jumpstarting may mean maybe stalling and stopping. And do you have that time to stop?
To stop,
yes. Other times, can you be able to have that approach where you move on until the end, until then you jumpstart and make sure that everything is perfect before the next journey back?
The next journey back.
Yes, or forward. So I think there are different approaches, but this is why in any project you do have, of course, you have the baseline and then the mid and then the summative, to find out what is working. Are we on the right train?
Exactly.
Is this body actually working the way it's supposed to be? Is this steam actually delivering the way it is supposed to be?
Yeah. And the aspect of how do you deal with the components that perhaps are not effective in that body?
You get to them, accountability.
But
the president right now,
individual basis.
The president right now is looking at accountability, Andrew. Accountability, let this be classified. The ones that are corrupt, actually, he had even broken them down. He had even broken them down. Those who literally ask for payment, to get government jobs, those who squander the monies that are supposed to be put somewhere, misappropriation of funds. He has broken it down so well. I think news has been coming over to him, and this time knowing that even those ones in State House have been
really experienced pressure this time around.
It's not even pressure. It's actually the lion is roaring this time. The lion is roaring. Because
I remember those days when a story about corruption would be written anywhere on social media, or like, let's reflect 10 years back. Okay, it was more like, we are used to this, and this is what happens.
Yes,
what's so unique about this time around?
Is that it's dragging on, that the heat is still on. And remember, like I mentioned, I even mentioned this earlier, the heat used to die out after 1 or 2 weeks. But this is like a month.
It's persistent, it's a talk all the time.
And heads are still falling. Heads are still falling.
And actually, I'm glad one of the corruption, many times when we refer to corruption, the first thing we talk about is bad roads. But now they're being constructed.
Yes. And
what else do we have to say?
And kudos. Credit is given where there is a change, and hopefully we will not have those potholes come up within a couple of months. If we do, we will highlight. Trust me, here at Smart Means Business, if we do have those potholes come up, if we do have any particular cracks coming up on what is happening right now around Kubidi and the Mulago roundabout, we will be the very first team to get you that particular news. We're going to have a team on standby to find out what is happening, how well and how good can they stand. But getting into that, Andrew, let's get back to the undertone of the topic. Now, remember, earlier on, we had been talking about the role and the influence
of religious institutions.
Exactly. In combating HIV/AIDS, we've had quite a good, remarkable, clean slate, clean sheet over and overall in the past. But of course, we've also gone to see a couple of new infection rates going higher and higher in the last couple of years. We want to get back to the cost implications of this and the different strategies and their cost implications. That is our talk. Now, remember, from 9 to 10 o'clock, we will be hosting a key Anglican leader who will be taking us through and also hinting on what has been happening, the role particularly and the influence and some of the gaps that could have been coming up during the implementation. But Andrew, what do you think about it? When you are seated in that pew in the church, do they get to talk to you? Do they get to talk to you about morality, about how to keep, if I could say it as it is, to keep your zips up? Do they get to tell you about these things, or it is bring the tithe? bring the tithe. the basket is positioned there.
Yeah.
We need to build ABCD. Are they telling you the cause about your life?
The cause. Doreen, from my own experience, actually, I feel, I've been told this, you know, don't do this, don't do that, avoid this is dangerous. But I think, like we know how curious a human soul is, the human, you know, kind of, by nature, we have this adventurous aspect in us that, why is somebody telling me no? So, the church has done whatever it can do, and actually we are seeing impact. But I would feel like the right way this to be brought out is somebody should know, why is it important for me to be healthy? You know, what would happen if I'm spending money on medication to combat the pain of this epidemic? You know, because if you tell me don't do this, but there is no the why factor, why?
Yes.
So, and I think also the grooming is quite key and important, and the church's intervention. I'll credit the church, but I will also say that the parent grooming of the children has also been quite a key aspect into this, because the church is coming to build on what has already been at least planted. Perhaps a seed has been laid on ground, but the church has to plant that seed of awareness and why people need to know the importance of life. Why do we need to be? I mean, now this comes in the lines of purpose. That if you're out of the society, what is the society going to miss from your talents and gifts? You know, now that is going to make me aware as somebody attending church. I'm saying, okay, I think I should avoid this because if I acquire it and I may not be dead, but I may not be productive.
Yes.
The society is missing out quite big.
To me, I look at the church really, and at the religious institutions. That means the Muslims, the Catholics, the Anglicans, all these different denominations. When it comes down to that, they are the gatekeepers of morality.
Morality.
The moment they come up, and the sheikh comes up and says, this is not right, to beat your wife, to go out and get, yes, maybe the law, according to the Sharia law, allows them to have, I think,
3.
Yes, 3 or how many wives?
I think, I'm not quite sure.
Yes, but also getting down to the nitty-gritties on how you are meant to be zero grazing around those, and basically making sure that all your activities, sexual activities are around, and you get to sit together and you harmonize. That is key. It is not just saying, yes, have the second and third wife, but are you able to maintain them? Come down to the nitty-gritties as well, and talk about how do we make sure that this particular this particular disease is not brought into our family, because guess what? If it is brought into our family by either you or me, you know, that is the accountability part of it. If it comes in, who will take care of our children?
That's a hard question.
Yes, sorry.
And we've seen scenarios where actually even the church itself has had witnesses where it's actually spreading within the church.
True.
You know,
and no one wants to, because they always want to appear blemish, without blemish. They want to appear spotless.
Spotless.
Yes, they want to appear spotless, and that is the challenge. We know they're not spotless.
That's why I said the church has done its part, but what approach is it using if we are to have more? Because I feel like at some point they emphasize more of, when they say prevention is better than cure. We have so much invested in the cure, but less have we invested into the prevention initiatives, and coming in down to the mindset change. Yes. And skills and tactics on how
role models also. When you have one of the leaders come up and
exactly,
and they're tainted, call them to book. Perfect. Call them to book. Because you know what? The world is watching. The flock inside the church is working. But if you get to look at the approaches, Andrew, that I'm talking about, I remember how it would come up and the church would be very instrumental and say, please be hardworking. Yes, be hardworking. Be hardworking. Speaking on the Anglican side, really, because we have had interactions with some of the leaders, they will tell you that right now they are at the forefront of driving out poverty and ensuring that there is improved quality of life, and even bringing some of the government projects, programs basically closer to the persons that attend their services. But when it comes down to that, they have active skilling, active skilling within the churches, and then these are broken out into skilling camps whereby, under Mothers Union and Fathers Union, they do have these. But you see how they have approached the poverty alleviation aspect.
Alleviation, yeah.
That is how we want them to approach the HIV aspect. Yes, pandemic, to get down. And we know for sure that these are happening under Mothers Union camps as well as Fathers Union camps under the Anglican arm. But for sure, how often are they, and do they get to attack it as it is? Now, hold the bull by the horns and say, you know what, can you have that HIV test? Can we sit down and have this? One, let us prepare ourselves. If we are positive, what do we do? Can we have the linkage to go and immediately get started on ARVs? If we are not positive, can we go back, because there's always a window? Can we go back after a couple of weeks and find out? Let this information be at the fingertips, because it is real.
You've hinted on something when you mentioned about having a success at poverty, eradication, but then this particular aspect has failed. Because with the poverty, when they're preaching how to get rid of poverty, the message comes with do this, do this.
Yeah.
But the message about HIV prevalence is like, don't do this, don't do this, don't go here. Okay, I don't go there. Where should I go? What should I do?
Yes.
There are lots of don'ts, less of the do's.
But also, I think the fact that, it is hugely, especially in the Ugandan context, it is hugely sexually transmitted. These are, of course, it gets down to bedroom affairs, and this is a little bit taboo, getting back into that. How do you manage the bedroom affairs? How do you put your nose into the bedroom affairs of someone else? That is why sometimes the challenge is you can only do maybe as much as you can, get to 60%, but the reality, you can only do 30% as the church, and this is where they come in and say we can only do the best we can at 35%, but the 65% is really up to you. To zip up your pants is really up to you. To try and keep your family together is really up to you. Yes, to do something about it, and that's the reality that they continuously come out here and say.
But then it's coming in at a time where, you see, we need to look into, I feel like what the church has neglected in line with the massive advancements in technology today, because it all comes with perversions. They contribute to this because you're feeling this, you want to do this, but where has that come from?
Yes. Exposure,
social media, TV. These days we are seeing children owning phones when they're just in primary 2, 3, 4, 5. They're already having these phones.
Now, absolutely. You're talking about phones.
They're going to get exposed to this.
Talking about phones. In one of the communities, yes, it went viral at one time. Whereby I think a church lady, a wife of a pastor, actually, these scenarios have happened so many times, and it shows you the addictions that maybe the church doesn't want to talk about. A wife of a pastor was sending quite an intimate message to her pastor husband. Yes, and unfortunately, I think in the heat and the passion of the moment, it ended up going onto the church page. The church WhatsApp group. The church WhatsApp group. Oh dear. This was in Uganda, Uganda. And then another scenario, of course, is the fact that some of these things that are the drivers really of the behavior within the church can be seen. Because at one time in one of the churches, I think, the guys that get to, are they the text guys, the guys that control the machines, and when the Bible verses are going up,
on the projectors,
those guys that get to see it. Now, as he was behind doing his own stuff, he was actually, unfortunately, looking at pornography, and unfortunately, and this was within the church. And during that time of the service, unfortunately, what came up was not the Bible verse, but what he was watching out there right in front on the screen for everyone to see.
I can imagine the embarrassment.
embarrassment, or you want to die.
You're embarrassed to, I mean...
You can't even begin to think about it. You would hide yourself, I think, relocate from the district itself and just move away. But this shows you just a sneak peek into what is happening
in the church.
Because you have said, yes, Lord, I'm your servant, does not mean that you are isolated from what is happening elsewhere. Yes, there's quite a lot of this information, this profanity, and all these different, content floating around on social media. And just because you are within the church does not mean that you are exonerated from having those feelings, from having a look at some of these. And unfortunately, the clergy or the priests or the leadership is not very quick to look at that. Maybe they excommunicated him. Maybe they brought him forward and made sure that he asks for forgiveness. This has been done before. Yes?
That is not enough.
But that is not enough. So, Andrew, it is not enough. Because that is just a sneak peek into the erosion. Yes? It is the
culture erosion, moral erosion.
And do not assume that if it happens to just one of the sheep, that it is not happening elsewhere. It is not a point of isolation. It is not. These are far wide. In fact, sometimes this priests, if it has the audacity to happen right within, that means at any one time you have others who are actually
who are doing
who are doing it as you are preaching, as an Anglican or as a Catholic or as a Muslim cleric or whatever denomination you are. So please, can we get to talk about these, because these are the drivers as well of misconduct. Yes, and immorality, and of course the fornication and adultery and all these different things. And it is very key that we get to talk about these things. But I'm very excited.
Amazing.
I'm very excited. I've given you something to think about and laugh about all throughout the day. But also it's very
I'm also thinking about that. It was really, should I say, ridiculous? I mean...
The WhatsApp incident?
The WhatsApp incident.
Or the projector incident.
The projector incident. I'm thinking, I imagine I was the victim of that.
Just leave it. You can't unsee it. These are things.
Do you know why?
You see
I'm saying that
and you can't
because
unhear them.
That should be the driver to make somebody really be afraid of having such.
Within the church, but you can actually have it later on at home. Is that what you're saying?
Not at home.
Yes.
That either way you will be exposed. That kind of fear should be engrafted in the children out there to know. Okay, like when they talk about the fear of God. Okay, in the adults, because of course it's cultivated from childhood. So how we groom the children, how they perceive that whole sexual ideology at a later age will determine how they're going to move along with it. Are they going to take this as a sacred aspect, or is something that is any person will have it anywhere? That would be the bad thing. So the fear.
And what about, talking about morality, what about the TikTok videos? Recently, I got to see a TikTok video in which one of the parents is actually encouraging her daughter to shake her quote-unquote her nyash. This was TikTok. This was really a parent with her teenage daughter, secondary school, and this was out. So when you are talking about raising them right from the ground and how, now imagine if you as the parent are encouraging your daughter right away from that stage, and a stage, by the way, development stage, where this particular teenage girl is right at that time of discovering her sexuality, and you are telling her to shake her nyash for TikTok with a couple of views, 1,000 views there in Uganda, in this Kampala of ours. What are you thinking is going to happen to this child?
Of course, it's going to be wild. But I think now that brings us back to the aspect of the laws that govern society. This whole aspect of freedom of speech, to some degree, it's actually kind of grappling, the personalities of people in a country. You can't do that in Russia. You can't do that in China.
So we should go to Russia and China.
People should be arrested.
More and more will be. That's what I was telling you about. I'm very excited about our conversation today between 9 and 10, where we will have the Reverend come in and join us to have a discussion about the role of the religious institutions in combating HIV. Are they as as open as they should be? Are they as effective as they should be? What has changed in the narrative? What has changed in their approaches within the church? And what are the gaps that still need to be addressed? I'm very excited about it. Please be excited as well with me and join me between 9 to 10 today in just a couple of minutes. But right about now, we need to take a short break. And we will be right back with entertainment and sports.